One of the most important things in life is our ability to say no to things.
Many important people, successful people, are able to say no decisively without spoiling relationships. They don't fear misunderstandings. They're able to say this effectively.
Ladies and gentlemen, my dear children, welcome to a new episode on Sadhana World Foundation. As usual, I will pick up something from our day to day lives and connect it to the knowledge which is there in our ancient texts. Today, I'm going to talk about a very powerful word that's no. Just two letters, N-O, no. We have seen it in our day to day lives. If you are doing well, many people like you, they keep giving you more and more work. More favors are asked for. Your deadlines are not really respected. Your priorities are not respected. Many young and old professionals, many people in our homes and families, in our institutions, in our communities have experienced this. Some people get habituated to saying yes. The day ends with more work, more stress, long hours, and so on. I will talk about three characters from our ancient texts. First, from the Ramayana. When Ram was exiled to the forest, his younger brother Bharat was not in the palace. Bharat's mother Kaikeyi had got the permission granted from the king of Ayodhya, that's Dashrath, to make Bharat the king. Bharat came back after a few days. Unfortunately, those days mobile phones were not there, media was not there, so Bharat didn't know that such a big thing was happening in his kingdom. The kingdom which belonged to his elder brother Ram was being taken away from Ram and was being given to him. He didn't know about it. He came back. He came to know of this. Everybody had assumed that Bharat will return and will become the king of Ayodhya. The courtrooms were in agreement. Of course, the outgoing king, Dashrath, his father, was in agreement. Everything was done. The citizens had assumed Bharat in their minds to be the new king. But Bharat comes back and sees this. He says no to this. So much of power, authority, position, and whatnot. But he went by his concepts. He felt the position belongs to his elder brother, Ram. It's not his. So he says, I would just be the caretaker king until Ram comes back from the exile. So he doesn't violate the principles. He has his moral compass. He respects it. He finds an alternative. He doesn't fall prey to the favors, fall prey to the powers, authority, and various things that's coming his way. Now let's look at another character, the second character from the great epic Mahabharata. That's our character Vidura, one of the wise councils, the ministers of the king of Hastinapur, King Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra is the father of the Kauravas, the 100 sons. The epic Mahabharata describes how several incidents happen, and each time Vidura gives the wise advice to Dhritarashtra about what's right and what's not. Came the moment of Draupadi being dragged into the courtroom by Dusasan under the instruction of Duryodhan, and Dusasan is trying to disrobe Draupadi, humiliate her, in front of so many people in the courtroom. Draupadi is asking for help from all the elders, but nobody is willing to take a position against the power of the king in the courtroom. But Vidura rises and says, this is not right. He is the only person who is able to gather his courage to stand up for the truth, for what's correct. So he stands up consistently for righteousness and says what's correct and what's not. So he says no to the event that's happening in that place and gives his advice to the king that he is supposed to. He is not scared of the king's wrath. He is not worried about the repercussions that he has to face. He is not arrogant, he is not disrespectful, but he says what's right and what's not in a very nice way. Now let's think of the third character, which is Nachiketa from Katha Upanishad. Nachiketa goes to the king of death, Yama, to understand more about life. The king of death, Yama, laughs at this young boy Nachiketa and says it's very complex. You don't have to get into knowing about death and life and various other principles of life. You go and lead your life the way that you are leading with your parents in the kingdom. Yama offers him wealth, power, long life, various things. But look at this young boy Nachiketa. What Nachiketa is doing is staying focused on his objective. His objective was to know about life, the principles of life, what's governing life in this world. He says no to the distractions. He says to Yama that none of this is what I have come to you for. I have come to you for knowledge, give me that knowledge. And finally, Yama gives the knowledge to Nachiketa. So these three stories tell us saying no is possible without spoiling your relationships, without being concerned about the repercussions, or at least being brave and courageous to do what's right. So we just have to understand what the request is, what the favor is all about, what the situation is. And secondly, we have to acknowledge what the person is looking for. And thirdly, we have to decide for ourselves what's right and what's not. And fourthly, we should be able to describe that why I believe what is right and what is not. Fifth, if possible, give an alternative like Bharata gave the alternative and lived that alternative for 14 long years. My dear children, ladies and gentlemen, so much of wisdom is available in our ancient texts. Pick them up, embrace. But remember, saying no is possible if we reflect on this wisdom and practice them day to day. It is easier said than done.